I'm always seeking ambitious new multimedia projects that will honor God and allow me to express myself creatively. I think that was not verbatim, but pretty close to what I read on your profile. Noel, you don't know me yet, brother, but we are in fact brothers in Christ. And I'm excited to have found you. And I just want you to know that I had you on my to-do list for the last 2.5 weeks, as I had just discovered you and you had solved a huge problem of mine, and I was working on the 3D flip book that I had purchased from you. And the last to-do of that 3D book task that I had to complete was contact Noel, thank him, and just let him know why you're thanking him. So allow me to try to elaborate now. As I said, I'm a fellow brother in Christ. Let me start, I guess, by saying the part about you solving the problem. What exactly did you solve? I'm a software developer myself. I don't know to what extent you are, but for 3 decades now, I have done a lot of software across many different platforms. And one of the things I always gravitated towards was multimedia, to tell stories, to make things more immersive. And out of all that multimedia, the one thing I kept coming back to was creating books. And I created these flip books in JavaScript, in ActionScript, in PHP to some degree. And After Effects, I slowly was tiptoeing into, because it was going to be necessary for the architecture I have underneath all of my business, my storytelling business. I was going to have to use After Effects because I had done so with so many other things that I'd created so far. And the reason you solved this problem was because in every other language that I have created flipbooks in, at some point, and WordPress was another one, at some point, the software stopped working. Not because what I built stopped working, but because, as maybe you have discovered in your software development, I don't know, career or just your experience, promises are what break software, not software. When humans stop holding their promises, keeping their promises, whether it's greed, whether it's just chasing this next new shiny distraction and no longer supporting the thing that they said they were going to support, whether they're merging one company into the next and all of a sudden abandoning the software and leaving more abandonware and vaporware on the internet, things just slowly erode. And we as brothers understand this just from the perspective of this fallen side of eternity, right? Things just decay and die. So I gave up on the whole flipbook idea for a while to solve other problems, knowing I was going to have to come back to this. And when I discovered you, brother, I was super excited for so many reasons. The flipbook was just the tip of the iceberg. Let me tell you what I did as soon as I discovered and digested all of what I could find on you in terms of just your flipbook and your 3D software. The first thing I did was to look into what kind of a person you were. Because as a software developer who has dealt with lots of broken promises and rewriting things over and over again just because big companies and other things break stuff over time as not enough money is available or there's more money elsewhere, it's become very important to me to spend a lot of upfront time vetting anybody before I ever get involved with them again or at all. And I mean this from a technical debt perspective as well as just what kind of character this person is. You know, we don't have a lot of time on this side of eternity, and I've learned through lots of painful trial and error that it's very important to find out who you're working with before you work with them. So let me just say how delighted I was to find how brave you were to, in only a few sentences in most of your social profiles, say what I opened up with in this video. your statement about honoring God with your multimedia. And that coming first in the sentence before the second part, which was you being allowed to express yourself creatively. That means a lot to me. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for your efforts with all the creative stuff you have going on. And I've watched a lot of tutorials and people read through a lot of the comments. And something that really stuck out in me too was your need for perfection, but your admission of such. Because that could be a problem too, right? But you have spent the time to not only make this incredible piece of software, but spend the adequate time simplifying it, tutorializing it, making it very clear to new people, putting forth the effort to care about people who don't even know how to software develop. I mean, I'm a software developer in every sense of the word for 30 years. And it's hard to do what you did. Make something simple enough so that anybody doesn't have to be a software developer to be able to take advantage of what you created, dude. Those characteristics strike me as someone very trustworthy. And in a world that has fallen very short of my naive expectations of trustworthiness, it was very refreshing on so many levels to find you. So I hope that this video finds you, because I want you to know just how much you have done for what I'm trying to do. And I do have a wild imagination, as you seem to, in multimedia. And part of my imagination also tells me that at some point, I don't know how or where or when or why, well, I guess I know the why, but I feel like you and I might actually collaborate at some point. Just throwing that out there. I've got no specific motivations underlying stating that other than, wow, trustworthy, multimedia, God-fearing. At some point, him and I are probably going to cross paths more than just his flip book. So this is my heads up to you. You have been noticed, and I hope you notice this video, and I hope you feel the gratitude and the true motivation behind my sending it. Because in this world where it's becoming increasingly difficult to know someone's true motivations, I want you to hear me bearing my soul here. I ask God on a regular basis to make my own intentions clear to me, because I know the heart is desperately wicked, and it's easy to lie to yourself. So I want you to be able to know from what place this message of mine is coming from. Peace, brother. That's all I got. Have an awesome week, and looking forward to connecting with you in the future, bro.